Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Georgina and on this channel I pretty much just show everything I do in my life, which includes makeup, skincare, fashion, healthy eating and all that sort of jazz. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, then I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button to be notified on when I upload a new video. So for today, I'm going to be doing my makeup. I'm just going to be showing you some of my favourite products I love to use and just my everyday go-to makeup look. So the first thing I always do is obviously clip back my hair, and you can probably tell I've got something on my lips, which is the Barry M That Swell Lip Plumping Gloss in Pucker Up. I always use this just to give my lips some colour and to make them a little bit more plump. So that is always my first step. Primer. I use the Body Shop Instant Blur Mattifying Primer. I always use this on my T-zone area because you can probably tell I get quite shiny. So that's what I'm going to do first. My next step, I use the Rimmel London Instant Conceal and Correct palette. I don't really use the purple that much, but you can probably tell I use the green and the orange a lot. I use this all the time. This is always the colour correcting palette I always go to, and I literally use the orangey peach but under my eyes. And then obviously I use the green for any spots and blemishes I have. So for my favourite foundation, I use the Ordinary Serum foundation in 1.0N, which is very fair neutral. As you can tell, I'm a very pale girl. And I do love this foundation because it's a very full coverage foundation, but it doesn't feel heavy at all on my face, which is amazing. So all I do is I tip some or put some into my palette and then use my finger to just sort of spread it onto my face. And then I just use like a stipply kind of brush. I know I need to clean my brushes, and I literally just sort of, I don't really swipe, I more like pats, kind of like you would with a beauty blender, but I use a stipply kind of brush instead, because that's just how I prefer to put on my foundation, honestly. So my next step, I use concealers, and I say concealers because I use two. The one I use under my eyes, I use the XXRevolution Eye Bright Concealer in Porcelain, and then for any spots or any areas I need a little bit more coverage, I use the Maybelline Instant Anti-Age Eraser in Light. So I use these two to conceal. And then I just use a beauty blender to blend it in. Yes or no, it's not damp or wetted, this beauty blender, but honestly I only use this to blend in my concealer, and I think it works just as well dry as it does if I had wetted it. So I can never be bothered, honestly, to go and wet this, so I just use it dry. For my next step, I use the Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder in Pink Blossom. It just looks like this. I'm sure many of you have probably seen this powder before. Honestly, I've used this powder since, this was the first powder I ever used, and I've purchased it loads. I know, honestly, I've tried other powders to try and use some different ones, and I always just go back to this powder because it's honestly one of my favourites. It always does the best, and it really does like hold in my makeup and hold in my oils, so I always go back to this powder. My next step is my eyebrows, and I use a few different products when I do my eyebrows, but the one I always go for is the XXRevolution XXFine brow pencil in deep brown, and honestly this is one of my like favourite brow pencils. It's the perfect colour for me, and it always just makes my brows look the best. So that's my first step for my brows. I just use the spoolie end to brush my brows. And then I use the pencil end to actually fill them out. I don't fill out my brows, like all of my brow. I literally just fill out the area, like the gaps. So on this brow, you can probably tell I've got like a little gap here because I've got a scar. So I just fill in the gaps and then blend it all in together. And then I just use the spoolie again to brush out the excess, so it does, my brows don't look so harsh. For just like my everyday brow, I just put in some clear brow gel, and I use this one from Makeup Revolution. Like I say, it's just a clear brow gel, just so to give, like, I like to do it to sort of make the hairs look more real, and sort of give back the volume that it's kind of missing when I've used the like brow pencil. I don't know if that made sense, but to me it makes sense. You know, something I've always wanted to try? The soap brow trend. I'm sure many of you have probably either heard of it or seen it, or you do it yourselves. If you do soap brows, do you like it? Because I've always wanted to try it, but I don't know if I would like it on myself. I like it on other people, but I don't know if I'd like soap brows on myself. But let me know, do you do soap brows if you do? Next step, I go onto my eyes, and the first thing I do is I use the Sample Beauty Erase and Boost Base in number 2. I use this to kind of like as like an eye primer, and I usually sometimes get very veiny eyelids, so it's also to sort of cover up the veins as well. So I just put some on my finger and literally just sort of dab it and swipe it into my eyelid. And then straight after I put the Sample Beauty like base on, I then set my eyes just with any like white or cream eyeshadow that I have, which in most palettes have like a white or a cream eyeshadow, just to sort of set it, because my eyelids get very oily. So if I don't set it with like a powder or something, then the eyeshadow comes off a lot quicker. And then all I do for like a everyday makeup look, I don't always go like really heavy with my eyeshadow, but I would sometimes want something so I don't look so flat. So I usually use this XXRevolution X Friends Moniker palette, and it just looks like this. And then I always either use shade Bing or say shade Chicken. And today I'm going to use shade Chicken because it's a little bit warmer, whereas Bing is more of a cool tone brown. And I just use a big fluffy eyeshadow brush. So like I say, I'm going to use shade Chicken in my crease just to give my eyes a little bit more definition, and just so they don't look so flat as I'm doing this. Have you ever watched Friends? Because honestly, I've never actually watched Friends, which for some of you may be a surprise, as I'm a 20-year-old girl. So like Friends was like my generation, but honestly, I just never got into it. I tried to watch some episodes from different seasons because my older sister loves Friends, and she always used to watch it. So I used to watch it when I was younger with her, and I've tried again when I was older to see if I would like it, and honestly, it's just not a show for me. I don't hate it. There are parts in it that I do think are good, but it's just not a show for me. So there we go. Sometimes if I'm in a rush or if I can't be bothered, I just leave it like that. But for today, I'm actually going to put just a little shimmer. You probably won't even notice it on camera. I'm going to use the same palette, and I'm going to use the shade Clean. I think you just saw my reflection there. I'm going to use the shade Clean just all over my lid, just because I want to, honestly. I want a little bit of a shimmer. So I just pick it up on my finger and then just swipe it all over my eyelid. And there we go. That's all I do for my eyes. Like I say, I don't know if you can really notice a difference on camera, but in real life I like to just do something with my eyes, just so, like I say, they don't look so flat and I look like all one colour. So continuing with my eyes, I then obviously go with mascara, and recently this is actually a very, very new favourite of mine, but honestly it honestly is one of my favourite mascaras I think I've ever used, and it's the Maybelline Lush Sensational Sky High Mascara. A lot of you have obviously either probably seen this or used it yourself, and every time I use it, my lashes look the best they've ever looked. I'm quite lucky enough, and I have quite like long natural lashes anyway, but this just makes them look even longer, which I didn't know was possible. And it's in, I think it's just in black, yeah, very black, so they make it look very black as well, so that's another positive. Difference, the before and after. And then all I do, I don't know if you can even notice on camera, but in real life I can, because sometimes I just apply my makeup, or apply my mascara I should say, kind of messily, and then I just use, if I can find it, I'm just looking in my like brushes case, I use one of these. This is just a disposable like mascara wand. I just use that to clean up on any like any mess that the mascara has made. And there we go. I just love that mascara. It honestly, like I say, I'm quite lucky enough to have long lashes, but now I have even longer lashes. Now, for my next step, now I've done all my eyes and that, I go back to my base, and my favourite bronzer at the moment is the XXRevolution Triple Baked Bronzer in Summer of Love, and it just looks like this. A very beautiful bronzer. If you know me, or if you don't know me, for bronzer, for me, I don't like heavy bronzer. I've honestly only just started wearing bronzer this past year. I used to be more of just a blush girl. This past year, I don't know what it is, I wanted to just try bronzer, and I tried this one, and honestly I love it. I don't like heavy bronzer. I like it more just like a kind of like a sun-kissed, like natural kind of bronzer. It's also just to give me some colour back to my face, because I look very pale at the moment. So I literally just do it on my forehead. That's quite heavy. I put a lot on my brush there. It also looks really weird at the moment because I've got nothing else on my face at the moment, but I also did put quite a bit on my brush that I didn't mean to. Blend it out. I look really orange on the forehead now. Just what we all wanted. I'm just going to use my powder brush just to sort of make it a little less orange and so in your face. There we go. Oh. I always do that. With bronzer and blusher, I always go sometimes a bit too overboard. So the main areas, like I say, I put it on my forehead, and I don't really bronze anywhere else. I literally just put it on my forehead. I sometimes do, like, I sometimes put it around the edges, but honestly most of the time I don't. I honestly usually just do it on my forehead to give me some colour back. For my next product, I use the Milani Baked Powder Blusher in a Luminoso, if that's how you say it, number 5. Let me just open it. It looks like this. It's a very like corally pink kind of blush, and it has quite a very subtle like golden shimmer to it. I always like to use this blush on my more natural days, just to sort of give me some colour without being too harsh, if that makes sense. Unless I go and apply loads of it like I did with my bronzer, and then put it on my cheeks. my next step, one of my favourite steps, honestly, I use the Makeup Revolution Highlighter Reloaded in Golden Lights. And you can tell from the packaging that I've used this highlighter quite a bit. Let me just open it so you can see a little bit more clearer. There you go. It's just a very white highlighter with a very golden shimmer, like it says in the name, Golden Lights. So I use just a very small little brush to do my nose, my inner corners and my brow bone. So do the nose first and down the bridge, and then I just use my finger to sort of, so it doesn't look so harsh. And then, like I say, I use this for my inner corner and my brow bone as well. And then I use the same highlighter to do my cheeks. I just use a different brush. This is from Makeup Revolution. It's just called like a fluffy highlighter brush. I used to use a fan brush for a good while, and then people said that this was actually better, and I do agree, because I like quite an intense highlighter. The only thing with this highlighter, as you probably saw when I turned then, it does leave a little bit of a grey like cast. And then I just use my powder brush and just sort of pat it out so it doesn't look so harsh. But honestly, I love this highlighter so much that I don't mind. It's just sometimes when I go a bit too overboard. But look at that highlighter. Stunning. One of my faves, like I say. And then I just use this, like the excess that's on the brush, and just do like my cupid's bow and a little bit on my chin, just to give them, just so they don't look so flat. And there we go, she's now highlighted. Next step after highlighter, this is a new favourite of mine, and I've never actually tried this brand before until I tried this, which is the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Lip Velvet Finish in all natural nude. And this honestly is such a beautiful nude colour. It's like a pinky nude, which I prefer. I like more pink on my lips than like brown. I like quite warm tone nudes, I guess is the best way. And I love this applicator because honestly, I don't use a lip liner because I can't be bothered with lip liners. But you don't need one for this because of the applicator. It fits perfectly on my lips anyway. So I start at the bottom and then just apply it to my lips. And there we go. I do love this lip because honestly, it dries down matte like instantly, but it doesn't feel, you know how matte liquid lipsticks used to feel really dry on your lips, some companies made? This one doesn't. It doesn't feel dry on your, honestly, when it's completely dried down, I kind of forget it's on my lips. And it lasts a really long time, even with like speaking and drinking and eating, it lasts a very good time. And it's, like I say, it's just a beautiful natural, like it says in the name, an all natural nude colour, which is perfect for my everyday. So yeah, highly recommend this product. And my last step for today, I use the Makeup Revolution Matte Fix Oil Control Fixing Spray. I used to use a different one from another brand, I can't remember what now, but it wasn't the best because I would usually get really oily very quickly, but I wanted a setting spray to kind of control my oil, so I went for this one and it really does help. I still do obviously get oily the longer I've worn my makeup, but it's not as quickly as it used to be. So just push back my hair and spray it all over my face. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed watching me show you my full face of products, of my favourite products that I use to create my everyday look. And this, like I say, is a look I always go for if I'm in a rush or if I want something on my face but nothing too much. I always go for this. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified on when I post a new video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching and thank you for joining me for today, and have a great day. Bye.